Hey, what's going on guys? Arekkz here. Welcome back to another video for Cyberpunk 2077, and today I thought I'd put together another one of those news roundups because there's a few topics that are worth talking about, some information that has recently done the rounds, clarification on their stance on microtransactions, a little bit of kind of insight into potential DLC, the scale of the game, and also that fancy new RTX trailer. So if you guys do enjoy this, you guys are hyped for the game, then of course don't forget to stick around, turn on the notifications so you don't miss any of our uploads, because of course as we get close to launch there'll be plenty of Cyberpunk coverage on the channel. But to begin with, let's start off with one very important clarification, and that is on microtransactions. There's been some recent confusion around the talk of microtransactions, with some people a little concerned that the game will include them, and then worrying about to what degree. However, there is a very important clarification to be made here that a lot of people are missing, and CD Projekt Red actually went on record to explain this on their official Cyberpunk 2077 Twitter account. One person said to them in kind of a reply, "Please don't add microtransactions," to which they replied, "No microtransactions." And somebody then went on to reply to them to say, "What changed?" Basically implying that this is a different stance from what they originally had said. And they then quote tweeted this to say, "Nothing has changed. Cyberpunk 2077 is a single player game with 0 microtransactions. One single purchase, no tricks, don't believe the clickbait." With a follow-up tweet to that basically saying that Cyberpunk multiplayer / online, which is a separate project, will have some microtransactions, but they said a year ago already that, like always, expect them to treat your money with respect. So that is basically the clarification. I think a lot of people will sometimes see this stuff on surface level, they'll hear it, they'll kind of just assume it's going to be in the base game, they'll be like, what purpose do they serve in a single player game? So to clarify, the Cyberpunk 2077 that launches on November 19th will not have microtransactions. Multiplayer is a follow-up standalone component that is not even slated to release until 2022 at the earliest. So it's a long way away, and it's fair to say not going to need to worry about that one anyway. And as we've often seen, microtransactions have typically been worked into multiplayer games, provided they are, largely speaking, cosmetic, things like that. Then it helps keep the lights on. Anyway, that to one side. Rest assured, this year, what you're playing is completely free of any of that. Now, of course, on top of that, one of the other questions, or one of the other kind of concerns, has been about whether the game will actually be launching in November, or whether there will be yet another delay. With many games this year, of course, getting pushed back given the COVID situation, and Cyberpunk itself having a string of pushbacks this year, many people will begin to worry whether they see that sort of ominous yellow screen once again to basically say, there's a new release date. But again, CD Projekt Red went on record to put fans' minds at ease to confirm the game will not experience any further delays and will, without question, release on November 19th. In a recent video for the company's financial results, the CFO, I'm not going to pronounce his name because I know I'll butcher it, but basically the CFO assured viewers that by the time the company releases its next quarterly video, which is in December, Cyberpunk will already be out. So basically, it's out before December, it's coming out on the 19th. So rest assured, you can now start looking forward to the game, you can start counting down the days because it's not too far away. Following on from there, on the topic of DLC, for those of you guys that are looking kind of to what happens after Cyberpunk, how you can kind of continue to live in the world and explore it, in recent news, CD Projekt Red said to expect more DLC than we saw with Witcher 3, which, let's be fair, had some of the highest praised extra content in recent memory, particularly the kind of Blood and Wine expansion. A lot of people raved about that, a lot of people absolutely loved it, and while The Witcher has of course released a bunch of packs of varying sizes, it's just got a load of praise for the large-scale single-player content it provided. So if the DLC in Cyberpunk is supposed to be larger than that, or there's supposed to be more of it than that, should I say, then we can expect a pretty extensive experience. And somewhat related to that, on the topic of it being compared to Witcher 3, every detail we've seen of Cyberpunk 2077 so far has of course, spoken about the sheer scale of it, how big it is. And there was recently a behind-the-scenes look at a voice acting recording for the Chinese localization, and the sneak peek saw that the voice work included about 15 to 20% more lines than The Witcher 3 did, including both of its huge DLC add-ons. Those statistics were tweeted by Daniel Ahmed, along with a photo of some of the cast recording in the studio, and some of the numbers that came out of that were that there are more than 150 voice actors, 100,000 lines, 4 recording studios and plus 10,000 person hours. And the VA work is said to be, again, about 15 to 20% larger than The Witcher 3. So, you know, if voice work is anything to go by, and, you know, the sheer scale of the game, the fact they said there's going to be more DLC than this, then if you were looking for a comparison point, then this is something to think about. Because in a recent video I did, in fact the last Cyberpunk news roundup I did, I spoke about how the team said it was quite difficult to give you an accurate idea as to the scale of the game, given the branching nature of the quest system, given that, you know, 2 people could play the game completely differently. You could effectively get to the end of the game without even completing the main campaign. So for that reason, and given the branching nature, it's quite hard for them to say this is how long the game will be. But if you're looking at it from a content point of view and a sheer scale point of view, comparing to Witcher 3 will probably paint a decent picture. And then finally, to round it all out, some of you guys may have seen this already. This dropped the other day, of course, when Nvidia announced their new 30 series RTX graphics cards, but they got a brand new RTX trailer for Cyberpunk, which basically shows the game in 4K with the RTX on and DLSS, and it basically just looks incredible. I mean, Cyberpunk already looks good. Like, if you look at it, even with RTX off, the game looks fantastic, but the second you turn that on, whew, that is a compelling package. So for those of you guys thinking about playing on PC, then yeah, you might want to grab one of those new cards. I still need to upgrade. I'm still running a 1080 Ti. That's I'm a little bit behind the curve, so it might be time for your boy to upgrade. But anyway, that aside, that's a little rundown on some of the recent news for Cyberpunk 2077. Hopefully you guys enjoyed that. If you've got any questions, drop them down below, and of course be sure to keep it locked for plenty more. Thanks for watching, guys. I hope you enjoyed that video. Don't forget, if you haven't already done so, you can join the Arekkz Gaming Discord. We've got an awesome community over there with so many different channels for you to chat loads of different topics and different games. I'm in there, the team's in there. If you guys want to chat with us, find people to play with, it's just in general a great place to be. And of course, if you enjoyed this video, don't forget to turn on those notifications so you don't miss any of our future uploads.